Hey guys, and welcome to yet another Cranky Frankly podcast. This week we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics of all time. I'm joined with none other than Aniket. Say hi, bro.
Hey dude, today we're going to be talking about, as Ishan said, one of our favorite topics. Um, Probably the topic that I've been asking him to do throughout like the last 4 weeks or the last month, and that
Yeah,
is YouTube, the platform that we're on right now. This topic, it's different to what we've been doing over the last 2 weeks. It's a growing phase, right? We're gonna see what works. We're gonna test the waters and see what we enjoy the most. And I feel this topic it could really bang the nail on the coffin, so to say. So what we're gonna be talking about is the journey of YouTube, and more importantly, our journey on YouTube. Me and Ishan, we've been watching YouTube for what 8 years, I would say 7 to 8 years, right?
yeah.
And throughout those years, so many changes have happened, whether it's happened to our viewership or the creators that we watch or the scene that we watch, so many different things. And we thought if we sit down and just talk about it, it'd be really interesting for you guys to watch. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Okay, before we move on to anything specific, I would like you guys listening to the podcast, to let us know in the comments which YouTuber is your favorite YouTuber. Which YouTuber do you watch the most, and who do you find the most entertaining? And Aniket, I'd like to ask you as well, who is your favorite YouTuber?
I think, I'm not sure if I can give you an answer because with me and I know with you as well, we have like YouTube genres, favorite YouTube
Yeah,
genres during our time, but like it's very hard to pinpoint one YouTuber. But there is surprisingly one YouTuber in my head. His name Penguinzo, which is an odd name, I know. But why he's my favorite YouTuber right now, I'll go on to later. But he's a good guy. What about you, dude?
currently my favorite YouTuber is Kodiko actually. Kodiko.
Hey, Tiny Meat.
Yeah, yeah, Kodiko, his second channel, his podcast, everything I'm a big fan of because
Mm-hmm.
the thing I like the most about him is he's very naturally funny. It's not like he's
Mm-hmm.
trying to be a stand-up comedian. No, he's giving a genuine perspective and what he finds funny.
And he's not
So
even
yeah,
toxic, he's genuinely just
yeah,
making comedy, like he met up with Dhaman, I think, last video or
yeah,
something. He's great guy, and him and Noel got great chemistry.
exactly.
um
Moving on,
yeah.
we'll be going through our journey. I mean, not our journey, but from where YouTube started, YouTube's journey. And for those of you who didn't know, YouTube started in 2006 when we were 3-year-olds. So we don't really know much. But
Yeah.
Aniket gave us a little bit of a breakdown of how YouTube was when it initially started, in the 2006 phase.
I'll do that. Yeah, we weren't we weren't active watchers at 3 years old. I mean, God forbid. I hope no 3-year-olds are actively watching YouTube. I mean, they're gonna ruin their brain. But yeah, YouTube started in 2006. 2006 being a key date because it was pretty much the start of the internet peak, which we're in right now. I'd like to say, internet users were increasing throughout the world. More accessible forms of internet were coming. Less dial-up internet, more broadband, etc., etc. So a group of guys in what I believe was San Jose, I'm not sure, I'll check,
Hmm.
decided to make what essentially was just a multimedia sharing platform, a video sharing platform in YouTube. Their vision was to create a place where anybody, any creators, any individual could make a video and share it on YouTube and show the world their own unique experience of life, right? And that's what it
Yeah.
was. The first video in YouTube on YouTube was, I think you know which one I'm talking about. Was one of the creators of YouTube himself in a zoo,
Yeah.
uh, just there really awkwardly and saying, I think, pointing to an animal or something. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but it speaks a lot to what the vision of YouTube was at the beginning, just to be an authentic place for any creator and every creator.
And one thing I'd like to add to that is right now we know what the YouTube scene is like. We've seen a lot of YouTube channels being a bit more, very professional with their videos and having good editing quality and all. But back in the day, YouTube was not monetized at all. No one was earning any money. Plus, the kind of content creators who were on YouTube there were just people who were passionate to make videos and share it on the internet. So some of the
Mm-hmm.
videos were like 20 seconds long, 30 seconds long. One of the most popular videos of, I think it's the most popular non-music video ever. It's called Charlie Bit My Finger, and it's a 1 minute video, and it's not the type of content that you'd think would survive on YouTube in this age. So that talks a lot about how YouTube has changed and grown over this time period.
But that was
And
it,
speaking of
right?
growth,
That was it,
okay,
right? It
Shiv.
was the authenticity that brought people, and that authenticity is why some creators really thrived at the beginning. You know who I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about guys like Fred,
Mm-hmm.
guys who were there at the beginning, like Ryan Higa and his channel,
Yeah,
um,
Ray
who
William
had
Johnson.
Ray William Johnson, exactly. These guys who weren't making YouTube for the reason why some YouTubers make YouTube today, for money to support them
Mm-hmm.
in their life. It was genuinely through passion. Someone like Fred was making like so many videos on little potato camera, with a
Yeah,
voice modulator. But they did their thing, and Fred was the first to get a million subscribers.
yeah.
And but it was a small platform at that point. There weren't many internet users, so obviously there weren't many subscribers, there weren't many viewers, but it was something nonetheless.
Moving on, let's speak about the growth phase of YouTube. So now we've touched upon how YouTube started and what type of people were on YouTube, but let's really look into the growth phase of YouTube and how did monetization take place and what type of content was surviving. So anything you'd like to talk about monetization first?
So the beginning phase of YouTube was from 2006 to around 2009, but the real growth on YouTube, or the growth of YouTube, in fact, started around 2010, and that was when advertisers started coming onto YouTube and said, "Hey, we can put our little advertisements at the beginning of videos. Thousands of people are watching this, even millions in some case. They'll see our brand. They'll be able to go to the shops and buy something from our brand. This is easy." So advertisers came to YouTube, said, "Hey, can we partner with you? Can we, let's make money, both of us. Let's make some money." So YouTube was like, "Yeah, we like money," and they decided to have YouTube partnership programs with creators and monetization on certain videos if they were above a certain threshold. So people started earning money off YouTube. Yet still, of course, around this 2010-2012 period, most of the creators were still there mostly for the purpose of making videos. In this period where monetization was only just starting, there were several YouTube organizations that help creators earn money. Organizations like Manishima, if you're well aware with the YouTube scene, you know what this organization was. It actually ended up being a scam organization. Later on found out. But organizations like this, what they used to do was they used to take big creators, and they used to be middlemen essentially, because they used to take these big creators and they used to take YouTube and they used to try and negotiate contracts between the two, so that there'd be a wage paid to the creators, or a contract between sponsors and all. This was at a time where sponsors weren't really a big thing as they are right now, so it was hard for creators to get sponsors. But yeah, that was the money side of things, which really ramped up the growth. Ishan?
Yeah, and as we're in the growth phase, we see a lot more YouTubers coming into the scene. We saw YouTubers like Filthy Frank, like PewDiePie, who's obviously the most subscribed YouTuber now. We also
Mm-hmm.
saw KSI and the Sidemen grow. We've seen a lot of variety as well as just normal content creators coming into the scene, and the monetization was an added motivator in a sense because now that these YouTubers, now that they found that making videos is the passion, they use the money from monetization to maybe buy a new camera, maybe do better
Mm-hmm.
editing, better software for editing, better PC, and they basically reinvested the money to make better videos for all of us. And other than just normal YouTubers, we also saw a little bit of TV shows entering the scene. We
Mm-hmm.
saw a little bit of music coming in as well. We saw the growth of Bieber and artists like Justin Bieber. with the all famous baby song as well as a few other musicians entering the scene, and there was like a whole variety of YouTube where, because back in the day YouTube used to be the few content creators who were willing to make the videos, and now it was people who were motivated to be in a subcategory. For example, KSI made FIFA videos, which goes a little bit into gaming. We saw Casper Lee and Josak who made, social videos, vlogs, and all of that stuff. So that's completely different. And as viewers of YouTube, that was a really enjoyable phase because we saw a lot of these YouTubers, grinding in and putting in the effort to upload once or twice every single day. So that was a very good growth phase. And there's also a few fond memories that we'd like to talk
I
about.
think this was
So
when we started watching, right? I was about 2012-ish. When did you start?
around that same era, my YouTube channel began in 2013, but
You
yeah,
started
around
watching
that
before
area.
that. Yeah, yeah, same. I had a similar thing. I think
Yeah.
for me, because I was living in the UK, so obviously I was more.
Okay, okay.
Uh,
Flex. Okay.
no, nothing like that. You were in the UAE, so like you can go for that big flex
Yeah.
as well. Um, I was more into the UK scene myself. Smosh and all, of course, I knew,
Mm,
but I was way more into UK scene. I know you were as well, and
yeah.
this was like um, obviously KSI. I think KSI was the first creator I started watching, and all I'll say is some of the stuff that rode on YouTube at that time, some of the content, if it was said right now,
Mm.
these guys, they'd probably get sued or like something really bad would
Yeah.
happen and they would get cancelled very easily. But that was how the content was. It was supposed to be carefree. It was supposed to be radical because uh, that's what it was. That's what it was. They had like lot of creators at that point of time used to have suggestive pictures of certain females as their thumbnails because the video would do better, which right now would never ride. Right? If you had that right now, you'd get cancelled for it. So it was a different era completely from what we have right now. Yeah. What are your first kind of memories or your distinct memories?
First of all, A plus to you for phrasing it in that way.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never seen someone talk about it like that. But I mean, it's absolutely right what you're saying because not only did content creators change, but society as a whole has changed so much
Hmm.
because
Hmm.
back in the day, we wouldn't emphasize on a lot of issues which we do right now, which is to do
Hmm.
with racism or gender equality and every single thing. And that back in the day, it was a bit more natural because people used to just say whatever came to their mind, right? There was not a
No
whole
filtering.
restriction or there's not like an age ban. Obviously, there was for certain type of content, but
Hmm.
still people did have the freedom to delve into whatever they'd like to do.
Hmm.
What you'd asked me was what are some of my best memories of this era? I'd probably say, events, certain events like the Wembley Cup,
Mm.
which is
Yes,
a
yes,
football.
yes.
It was like the first ever proper YouTuber football tournament, and the
Oh,
reason why
you
it's
asked
so
me my favorite
exciting,
creator, right?
yeah.
That's it. Spencer FC. I think Spencer FC is my
Oh,
favorite creator of all time. Yeah, go on, go
oh
on. I won't
damn.
interrupt you.
Yeah. So as an kid said, Spencer FC was actually the person who organized the Wembley Cup. He had his whole team play for him, and what this Wembley Cup was, in essence, was just a bunch of content creators, especially in the field of maybe football videos or gaming videos in the UK specifically.
Hmm.
And what they did is they made a random team of YouTubers, including some people had more synergy because they were in the sidemen or something, but they made this whole team. They made two teams of YouTubers, and they made them play a football match. Like a proper 90-minute football game, and it was actually very interesting because the type of football that was back then and still is today is very professional because people are not allowed to play bad and still be on the pitch or something, or just
Yeah.
you're expecting a very high quality of football when you're watching professional football. Whereas the Wembley Cup, it was more of a chance for YouTubers to, just play football for fun. It wasn't meant to be like good football or
Mm-hmm.
something. It was just a fun event, and it actually did very well on YouTube when it started out.
Oh, he did. Like I think what? Doctor Disrespect right now is putting 500,000 concurrent, no, 350,000 concurrent viewers, right? Which were like breaking some records. Those
Hmm.
streams used to go up to 500,000. I remember the Sidemen match going up to 550,000. So these were big events, getting big numbers. On the other side of the pond, you had it, what content I'm most familiar with. I'm not into the beauty community, so I can't talk about those. But the community that I'm most familiar with in the US is mostly the kind of comedy side of things. And the biggest two players in that were Smosh and Ryan Higa. I'm not naming his channel, and there's a reason for that. I don't want to, go off and end up
Yeah.
saying something that's derogatory because that's disrespectful. But Ryan Higa and Smosh's channel, which blew up, I think both were above 10 million already in this 2010 to
Hmm.
2015 era, which 10 million was rare. PewDiePie was also above 10 million, close to 20 million. But the USA was booming as well. Everybody was booming pretty much. Things were going good. Things were going good. I think we can say that.
And yeah, Aniket, just one thing I'd like to quickly add before we move on is, the Indian community as well started growing on YouTube because
Mm.
we've spoken about the UK scene, we've spoken about the United States scene, but in India as well, India is the second most populated country in the world, and a lot of new type of content creators started coming in. We saw a channel called AIB, All India
Mm-hmm.
Bakchod, who made just made funny videos, sketches in real life, and it was like a collective of four people. And we also saw another group of comedians like that called East India Comedy or EIC that Aniket's familiar with.
Yeah, that was my introduction.
And what basically happened was these three or four guys came together and made funny content that Indians would want to watch and Indians would relate to. For example, they made one of the most viral videos ever with Alia Bhatt, and it was called Genius of the Year because obviously Alia Bhatt was not known to be very smart, but what these YouTubers did was they identified their Indian audience and they made content that they would enjoy and they would relate to because there's a huge difference in the culture of India and European or American countries because India is a little bit more on the poor side, but they didn't sacrifice on the content. They made it very funny and made it very relatable, which helped them gain a lot of audience. And to be honest, that's exactly what the UK and US scene was also, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
they knew that their audience would like football or gaming or they knew that their audience would like sketches in real life and they implemented it in a certain way so that their audience would like it. So just wanted to point out that the Indian scene was also growing.
So things were going good,
And then
like as you said yourself right there, YouTubers started getting into the mainstream, interacting with big time celebrities. The UK,
bigger.
US guys were like collaborating with Dwayne the Rock Johnson and other multi-million dollar actors and all of that. So YouTube was being recognized as a real place, as somewhere that you could actually go and
Mhm.
make YouTube, make videos and gain fame from it and gain money from it. So it was really being taken seriously. But then something really bad happened, and I want to give a disclaimer before I say anything because the content that I will be saying right now, um, it might be offensive, or you may not want to hear what I'm going to talk about, but it's something that did happen on YouTube. And it was a reason for a lot of change. So I will be talking about it. I just wanted to get that out of the way so that any viewers who would not like to watch it, please skip ahead a few minutes. It would help you. So what I'm going to talk about is the Adpocalypse, which was one of the biggest events in YouTube history. Happened around 2016, if I'm not wrong. And the genesis of this, the genesis of this apocalypse was through a certain a niche genre of videos where where people would be uploading cartoon animations to the website, which seems harmless enough. Uh, but there were a certain group of people, and not good people clearly, who used to make cartoon animations, but make these cartoon animations do devious things in the videos. I'm not going to say what these devious things were because I think most of us can infer what I'm talking about, but they used to make them do these things which these cartoon characters should not be doing. Bear in mind that this content was mostly for children. This content was not supposed to be for people looking to watch this kind of thing, and YouTube was not supposed to be a platform for that either. So this whole thing was going on in this niche community, and then people started finding out that this was going on, and then advertisers started finding out that their name and their brand was being shown on these kind of videos, which are ethically completely wrong. You know, you'd see a McDonald's advertisement and then see such a video, you might feel distasteful about that brand. So brands were like,
Mm.
hey, YouTube, we're gonna pull out. We can't have this going on. This is terrible. And that's exactly what they did. A lot of brands just left YouTube completely. And this was at a time, as we said, YouTube was growing. YouTube was growing. The amount of creators, whenever a platform like this grows, what happens is there's always a boom to the creators before there's a boom to the demand, right? So there was this
Yeah.
boom to creators, boom to guys who just given up their jobs to pursue YouTube properly because they saw so much money in it. And suddenly, it's all gone, right? Any opportunity of making that money is gone. And I think I'll let Ishan speak about it a little bit. But yeah.
Yeah, so obviously the whole YouTube thing has changed now. There's a very bad phase of YouTube as we're speaking, and what what was the result of this is content creators had to completely change their approach of making videos. As you had mentioned before, content creators were much more free. They had the freedom to put whatever they like to say or put whatever kind of content, no matter what age group they're targeting. But now they needed to be a little bit more careful about what's actually making the cut of the video and what type of viewers are watching. Because let's say, for example, a certain YouTuber they can find out who their average audience is. For example, their average audience is about 20-year-olds, so they do have a little bit more freedom to express some things that wouldn't be applicable for someone whose audience is 12-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
So even right now, if I take an example, we look at YouTubers like Jake Paul, like Mogs, especially who their videos are mainly targeted towards younger children who look up to these people as role models, and they can't really be having some dirty stuff in there. And I mean, I don't want to give examples of some dirty YouTubers because I don't want to do it. But one more thing that happened in this phase was we saw the growth of another very short video making platform, and it's called Vine. And I'll be honest, I'm not a huge Vine fan or TikTok fan at all. But Aniket, you'd like to quickly, talk about Vine in general?
Again, I'm not a great fan of. I mean, I didn't really watch Vine or anything, but a lot of creators used to use Vine as their main social media. They gained great notoriety and great fame. Guys like Logan Paul, Hannah Stockings, all of these guys. In fact, Cody Ko is from Vine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, and what happened was, as all of this demonetization is going on, where creators are having to completely change the way they make YouTube, so many creators left the scene. Leafy is here being one of them. If you know the story of Leafy is here, let me know in the comments. I'll love to have a talk with you. Um, for real, no, he's really interesting, dude, for me at
Yeah,
least.
yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure.
But while all of this is going on, while YouTube is on this downward trend, this platform Vine, which has been growing over the last 3 years, 2014, 2015, it really starts skyrocketing, and these guys are doing really well, these creators. And then all of a sudden, I think Twitter owned Vine, if I'm not wrong, and Twitter pulled out. Twitter said, you know what,
Yeah.
nah, we're going to shut down Vine. That's it. And a lot of these creators got left stranded, and they had to move to a different social media platform, right? This was their livelihood. Most of them had left their lives. For the Pauls, that meant that they'd moved from Ohio, where they're from, all the way to California, to Los Angeles, in fact, which is one of the costliest cities in the world. So they had to somehow support themselves, right? So they started
Mhm.
moving to different platforms. One of those platforms was Instagram, but one of those platforms was YouTube. And Ishan, if you want to speak about what they did to our our YouTube.
So again, we all know the story of the Paul brothers, right? Logan Paul, Jake Paul, and I mean, as a group of viewers, I don't think many people are fans of these people. I mean, Logan Paul honestly has, come out of this phase where he's nothing's going right. He made this whole video in Japan
Oh,
about
we'll talk about that later. We'll
uh,
talk about that later. Let's
yeah,
just
yeah.
make sure to talk about that
But
later.
yeah, yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that Logan Paul, after he was popping on Vine, he was still like a teenager, or he was still a young adult when he was in LA, and he struggled to start things off. Just he started struggling on YouTube and on Instagram as well, but eventually he sort of came over the bad phase. He started collaborating with a few other YouTubers who'd help him out, and right now I think Logan Paul is actually one of the better YouTubers actually that I watch, one of the most entertaining ones. And it's really, I mean, I know a lot of people who completely hate Logan Paul, but it's actually very nice to see someone go from such a low phase to
Yeah, yeah.
keep posting again, keep getting more entertaining content, and he even changed the type of his content. So back in the day he used to do daily vlogs. The vlogs would be like 10-15 minutes long, and now he's kind of doing like a David Dobrik style where it's just 4 to 5 minutes. It's going to be very entertaining, very short, and people are probably more interested in watching 5 minutes of a YouTube video instead of 10 minutes. So that's
YouTube,
how.
YouTube itself saw a change in its demographic of creators. As creators left, a certain group of
Mhm.
creators entered the scene as well. And as the famous person said, I don't know which famous person, but to fight fire, you must fight. Yeah, it was something like to douse a fire, you must fight it with fire or something, right? Something like that.
Yeah, of course.
I completely butchered that. Yeah, that's the quote, right? And that's exactly what happened. At this point of negativity and hate, grew a certain group of YouTubers called commentary YouTubers. Now, if you're part of maybe the makeup community, not makeup, sorry, the beauty community. No, that was really derogatory. I'm really sorry about that. The beauty community, or if you're maybe into like the just the gaming community, maybe you might not have noticed these creators at first. Uh, but these creators are the commentators, the commentary channels. All these creators used to do essentially was they would pick on content and say why it was bad and why they didn't like it, and then the fans would be like, "Oh yeah, this isn't good. I'm gonna go to the creator and say they're bad," and that was it generally. But I say all that and I make fun of those guys, but me and Nishan were those guys.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah. Uh, we're talking about guys like so UK scene it would be Willany, it would be I don't know, I'm Alex for sure. He's I think one of the
Fabulous.
Mimulus, yeah. US scene now you know what? Moment I'm gonna talk about this, it's not coming to my head. Uh yeah, come on. Give me one.
Codico,
No,
obviously.
no, no. Like I don't know if they're commentary. That's the fine line. I feel there's a difference between
Yeah.
like uh, I think there's a difference between comedy commentary and commentary. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like Leon Lush, Kodiko,
Yeah.
Critical, who I'll talk about later, Penguins. Oh, sorry. Those are like they add a comedic feature to it. They're not really there to degrade the content they're talking about. They're just there because it's funny, frankly speaking. And we know
Hmm.
that because Kodiko literally goes and meets or talks to the people he insults in his videos, right? Just because it's like,
Hmm.
that's the way he rolls.
Fun.
But
Yeah.
this was a genre that came out of that dark period. And it meant a lot of creators were on their tippy toes, who were already on their tippy toes because money wasn't happening. It was a whole thing, right?
Yeah,
But
and
right? One YouTube started really popping off. And I'm going to hand that over to Ishan completely because I have no idea about that scene, frankly speaking.
yeah, so along with all the UK and US YouTubers, again, I'm coming back to my homeland, India. Respect. We do see one certain Indian YouTuber who is still very famous. He's called
Mm.
Carrie Minati, and I'm sure all of you guys would have heard that name somewhere. Carrie Minati, Carrie Bhai. So he obviously the Indian audience is much more different than the UK and US audience. So he made videos in Hindi. He started criticizing Indian YouTubers. He made a roast of AIB. He started roasting other YouTubers, and that's how he sort of gained a little community, just like all the UK YouTubers, all the UK commentary YouTubers did. He gained a community where people would just look at things differently. They would look at something and they try to be a little bit more negative. They like to criticize something about it, or If it's something cringy, they'll just say, okay, it's cringy, I don't want to watch it. And what Carrie Minati did is he was, I believe, one of the only YouTubers who sort of, was the biggest YouTuber in this scene. He was like a monopoly in a
Pioneer.
sense. And
Yeah,
what
yeah.
happened as a result is Carrie Minati started growing a lot. He then changed the type of content he made. A live streaming channel where he live stream games like PUBG and Call of Duty and all of those games. But what he did is he himself grew a lot as a YouTuber. He started collaborating with other YouTubers, and he now sort of changed his. He didn't. The best thing about him is he hasn't changed his content so much because his last few videos he made one of the most viral videos of all time called YouTube versus TikTok, where he's basically just comparing YouTube and TikTok, and he started roasting this one guy. So in essence, he hasn't changed a lot of his, what he used to do before, but obviously the style, the quality, and the way he's approaching things have changed. But that video, I just want to take like 2 minutes to talk about it because
Mm-hmm.
it broke a lot of records. I believe it was one of the most growing videos ever in the first 24 hours. It had like 40 million views or something. And
Damn.
what happened was it got taken down by YouTube because of some policy issue, I believe.
Hate
Because,
speech, I guess.
yeah. And as a result, I mean, Carrie Venati, even though his video got taken down, which is a very bad thing, what happened is he gained a lot of subscribers in the progress. I think he got like 5 million subscribers in a month, which was
Bro.
absolutely mental. And what happened is these new people, okay, they don't know who Carrie Minati is. They started watching his older videos. They found it funny, and he, as a YouTuber, then grew out a little bit more because he gained a lot more people from it. And right now, he's in the stage where he, even if he uploads like once in a month, that's going to be enough for him to pay all of his bills or whatever. So he's
Ishan, I
now
have a
reached,
question.
yeah.
Could you say Karimanati was like the KSI of India? As in, he like gave a platform to a lot of Indian YouTubers to grow and decide like, oh, bro, I can actually just talk about whatever I want to talk about and get views from it. Could I say that?
It's actually very nice that you brought that up because it's a very interesting comparison because obviously KSI, the type of content that he's making now is on his second channel he's making a lot of Reddit videos, he's making a lot of funny videos, trying not to laugh videos and just random maybe gaming videos here and there on the Sidemen channel. And he's also, delved very deep into the music industry,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also had a boxing match. So he's, like a powerhouse. He's like a jack of all trades. He's trying to be involved in each and every sector, and that's great for him. But Carrie Benati, to some extent, is like can be compared to KSI because Carrie Benati made some music videos. He made like roasting videos, comedy videos, and he also, helped grow a lot of his friends like Tanmay Bhatt now. I mean, not
Mm-hmm.
only he's not the only reason, but one of the reasons why some of the smaller channels are growing now is because of Carrie Minotti. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I would agree to some extent. However, the problem with KSI is that in the UK scene, I'm pretty sure you would have experienced this or acknowledged this that all of the UK scene YouTubers they put KSI in the thumbnail and the title, and they get a lot of views, and that's how they
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
With Carrie Minati, it's a little bit different because what they're doing is they're collaborating with Carrie Minati on his channel, and they're growing as a person. They're not trying to gain from their own channel in a way. So
All
there's a
right,
little bit
all
of
right.
a difference in it, but it's great that you brought it up because these two somehow are very comparable in a sense, even though they're
Mm.
catering to very different audiences. So
I
interesting.
find it like really interesting to see this because the UK and Indian scene is actually very similar and very different at the same time. UK is what, a country with a population of 66 million people or something like that. We have a bit more, a little bit more, like 1.5 billion or something, so just a little more. But it's cool to see the similarities. I think definitely. So me, I am not as involved into the Indian community as Ishan and as much as I would like to be. But just from going to the trending page, you can see this type of views that these guys pull. And of course, we're gonna move on to the whole PewDiePie versus T series thing, where India just
Okay.
showed single-handedly how they can defeat the world. I mean, all I'm trying to say is that, while all this bad stuff was going on in 2016, as we phased out of this, Indian YouTube really saw a rise, and it became I hope I'm not wrong, but I think Indian YouTube is the biggest scene right now with the most viewership.
I would say, yeah.
Yeah, 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 for sure, right? Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
as I phase out of this apocalypse time, what happened was a lot of creators got used to their life, right? They realized that they had to make censored videos, bleeping swear words, and not including any explicit content. All that they understood it, so they made content like that. It became a way of life, right? And
Hmm.
as we phased out of this period, uh, it became less negative. Obviously, there were blips. One of the major blips being when the Logan Paul suicide forest thing in Japan in the January
Hmm.
of, I think 2018 maybe, which was a massive hit, and it was a terrible thing that he did. Actually, it was really bad what he did, but these were simply blips because it didn't really affect the scene too much because the scene had changed. And
Hmm.
I want to make sure that everybody listening understands how much the scene had changed. At the beginning, me and Ishan said, these were authentic creators making it not for the money, but for just making videos. Most of these guys are really weird people, like, I'll be honest. If you've seen like some of their earlier videos, they just, yeah, less said the better. But these were the kind
Yeah.
of guys that were there. There was no monetization. But now we were in this era where almost every single thing was about monetization. If you go on YouTube right now, you'll see only 10-minute videos. Why? Because if you have more than 10 minutes, you can put more mid rolls, right? You will see
Hmm.
videos which are shot at 4K, 4K or 2160p or HD at 60 frames per second, which is if you're into video editing like our boy Scott, Roshanat Scott, he's been editing every single video so far. Great guy.
Yeah, Scott
Uh,
cut this one out.
no, 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 no. I'm
I'm
having
kidding,
Scott.
kidding, kidding. I'm
Yeah,
kidding,
yeah, yeah.
kidding, kidding.
Scott's my guy. Big up Scott. But if you're into video rendering, you understand how much effort it takes to record a video at that level. And we've been seeing whole production teams go in to this side of things. Creators, like how Ishan mentioned, and bro, Ishan is like damn good at segues, okay? Like how Ishan mentioned, creators started changing themselves, started
Yeah.
changing their personalities and more changing their brand. KSI, he became, but he's a music artist now, right? He's had what, like
Yeah.
four top 10 charting singles in UK. PewDiePie went from being a completely gaming channel to the extent that he would never dare to do anything other than gaming or Q&As and a few vlogs, to a completely reaction channel or a commentary channel, which I like, by the way. I like it, but
Yeah.
he completely changed his brand. Uh, do you have any instances of guys changing themselves?
I mean, I'd like to talk more about PewDiePie because
Go on, go
obviously
on.
one of the biggest YouTuber ever, and
Mm-hmm.
we have to mention that
Slow
phase
gang.
where that phase where even his thing went really low, and it was, I believe,
Oh,
the second phase of demonetization. It's
oh,
in a live stream he said a naughty word, the N word, and
yeah.
he again, just like the first demonetization, a lot of ad companies and the brands started pulling out because they wouldn't in that age, especially society had changed so much that people were very sensitive, and for right reasons. People are sensitive to a lot of discrimination or just anything in
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
general. And since PewDiePie did that, his in that initial phase, he made an apology video, I believe, and there was a lot of bad things going.
Backlash.
Everything was going down, and just
Yeah.
a decline in general. And but again, just like some other YouTubers, PewDiePie just grew out of it and grew out of it big. He had this incredible battle with T Series, as you mentioned, the
Mm.
road to 100 million subscribers, and that was very hilarious actually because nobody expected T Series to be up there with PewDiePie because
Dude,
T Series
everything
is just
about that,
for.
like,
I mean, yeah, yeah, I see.
looking back at it, what even was that? Like there were
Exactly.
guys printing, like hacking into printers, going subscribe to PewDiePie. Man, I'll let you continue, but it was madness.
Exactly, because see, all of us Indians, we know what T Series is, okay? We know that they put their music on whatever. It's a huge production company of music or whatever. Hindi songs, obviously, not like Hollywood songs, but it's a whole music thing. And all of these, foreigners like Europeans, Americans, they're like, what exactly is T Series? They just know it as a huge Indian company. They might as well think that it's a mafia company or it's related to the Illuminati or something. But it was very hilarious, and at an extent where people just went bonkers with promoting them. We saw a lot of Indian people putting a lot of posters and putting subscribe to T Series, and a lot of people who didn't support PewDiePie, they just subscribed to T Series instead. And conversely, we saw PewDiePie gaining a lot of it. He saw all of his audiences, pushing it on various social platforms as well as in real life. As Aniket mentioned, there were
Mhm.
people, bringing out actual life-size posters and putting it out saying subscribe to PewDiePie. And that was a very interesting phase. And I believe right now PewDiePie has reached, like a saturation phase where he knows that he is the biggest YouTuber. He knows that, and
Mhm.
he's he's sort of adapted so well because obviously he's been making videos for over a decade, I believe, and the videos now are just funny and based on his audience. You've seen a lot of Reddit videos popping on his channel. We've seen even a few music videos here and there just for fun. And I know a lot of people anywhere in the world who are fans of PewDiePie. Even in India, we've got a PewDiePie fan community. In the US, we'll be having a PewDiePie fan community. In the UK, we've seen a whole PewDiePie fan community. In the United States, we've seen a whole PewDiePie fan community, and it's great because nobody in the beginning of YouTube, really thought that there'll be a day when there'll be a guy called PewDiePie who's got over 100 million
Yeah.
subscribers,
Wow.
who's catering so well to all of these other audiences as well. So it's actually immense how PewDiePie has grown. And let's move on from the growth phase and the demonetization phase. Let's talk more about the current phase of YouTube and what type of content is being here specifically related to TV shows, right? You wanna
Yeah.
talk about that a
Yeah.
little?
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect, actually. Exactly what I wanted to touch upon. During the last two kind of eras that we've been talking about, we focused a lot on creator content. Creator content, if anybody is not aware, we're talking about individuals here mainly or small teams working on content. Um,
Mhm.
but in the background, or maybe not in the background for guys who don't watch YouTube, who just kind of click on it from time to time, we saw music groups and a lot of TV shows enter the YouTube ecosystem and
Yeah.
try to survive there. What kind of shows am I talking about? That might be the Jimmy Fallon show. It might be Vivo, the music group. I think record label or something is the correct word, but I don't know. I'm not clever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, um, I don't know. Jimmy Kimmel, right? These kind of shows,
Yeah.
they started coming, but around 2016, they were just there. They were like, all right, they get this kind of, they get like 1 million views or whatever. They're gonna get that. Their TV shows is whatever. Moving into 2018 onwards, though, YouTube made it abundantly clear where their priorities lie, and it was wherever the money lay, pretty much. These huge TV or media outlets that mostly work through television and satellite networking, they're backed
Mm-hmm.
by some of the richest people in the world, whether it's Rupert Murdoch, who owns half of the world of broadcasting, and these guys can spend money on things if they see an investment. So they would go to YouTube. They'd say, right, look, this is a TV show. For example, say it's Fox News. I'm going to give you some money. Put me on trending. And YouTube was like, yeah, sure, dude, money. Uh, and
Yeah.
these shows, they just took over trending, took over anything. Like I don't watch any TV shows on YouTube. Okay, let me make that clear. I go right now to my suggested, and half of the stuff is TV shows. Why? Because they paid for, and it showed a real thing about YouTube, that they're just trying to make their platform as profitable as possible. It wasn't like at the beginning when we all thought it was a place for creators and creators only, right? When like
Mm-hmm.
Fred and all were making videos. And one more thing is, especially with YouTube, and let's make it clear, creators have made a lot of mistakes in the past, but so have YouTube. YouTube has made a lot of mistakes as well, whether it means demonetizing videos for no reason and things like that. And that's because YouTube takes a very hands-off approach to how they deal with this website. They have a massive community, all right? who need kind of constant surveillance or constant help from the website, right? Whether it be getting harassment from someone or something like that, right? They need help from YouTube itself to talk to some a representative there. But what YouTube does, they just have an algorithm deal with all of this. If you make a complaint towards a certain YouTuber, there's an algorithm that deals with that. If you copyright claim someone, there's an algorithm that deals with that. There are no people involved in algorithms. As much as I'm a coder, right? The whole basis of how algorithms are made, especially with machine learning and AI, is that they're based on biases. So when there are trends which are going on, when people are forcefully copywriting, claiming a lot of videos, the algorithm is going to be biased in such a way that they allow that, because these are not sentient beings, or not to that extent yet, right? So that's what the community is, and YouTube doesn't really care too much about that, because as long as the big TV guys are giving them money, it's not a big problem, right? YouTube partners are only there for guys who have more than like a million, 2 million subscribers, and that's the whole thing. I mean, Ishan, if you want to talk about
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to talk about it now
it.
that you've
Yeah, yeah,
covered
yeah.
everything. But a few TV shows that I want, one TV show specifically that I wanted to mention is James Corden, because
Mm-hmm.
that's literally the only TV show on YouTube that I watch. Because James Corden is basically, trying to collaborate with the big time celebrities. He made a video with Justin Bieber, he's made videos with Kim Kardashian, he's made video with the Jenners, he's made videos with a bunch of celebrities, and it's not only because he wants to get a personal gain from it. He's actually, on a TV level, he's one of the most funniest people I've known.
Mm-hmm.
And apart from just TV in general, right now, if you look at YouTube, one of the most, if not the most trending thing on YouTube is live streams. And we will need to get a little bit more into detail of live streams now because
Mm-hmm.
it's popping. Okay, we've seen right now Indian PUBG gamers. We've seen a lot of examples. I give like Soul Mortal, like Scout Gaming. We've seen Jonathan Gaming. So many, and it's not just they're live streaming games for the fun of it. It's become a whole business now because these people they've started investing in boot camps or places where they stay together and make videos together,
Yeah,
and it's a whole business that they're catering because there's a lot of fan following of PUBG Mobile in India, and Aniket has he's not a fan of PUBG Mobile to say the
yeah.
least.
Nah,
But
mobile gaming isn't gaming, dude. I'm sorry.
okay. Even if you don't like it, there is over two
Yeah,
hundred thousand people watching PUBG Mobile live, even though they have the opportunity to play the game themselves.
I can't even
Why?
hate.
I want to know what is it about live streaming that's so interesting to watch. Because personally, I was never a fan of live streaming until
Mm-hmm.
this era came where there's so many live streams. There's more games popping like Fall Guys. I've watched a few live streams of Fall Guys, and it is addictive to some extent. And
Mm-hmm.
Aniket, you wanna explain your view on what do you think about live streaming?
All right, let me have a little jab. It won't be a very good jab, but let me have a little bit. So, for me, while I do watch gaming live streams, for anybody who follows the pro CSGO scene, of course, ESL1 Cologne is on right now, which is basically, for anyone who doesn't know, it's like the premier competition for CSGO pro players.
Boring.
Fun. So that's real gaming, man. It's not clicking keys on a phone, right? Sorry.
Okay. Go on.
Wait, what was that? I myself, I watch a lot of more real life oriented live streams. So that might be the kickoff. Do you know the kickoff? True Jolly?
Yeah,
Yeah,
of
so
course.
True Jolly is probably like the second, or maybe even my favorite YouTuber. Turns out I have more than one favorite YouTuber, it looks like. But, he's a guy that I really enjoy, and he has these kind of football live streams which he does, where he doesn't show the match, but he just gets a bunch of guys around and just talks about the match and other things while watching it. So for me, my draw over there is that it kind of gives me a sense of community, like I'm with my friends, which I don't have many of. I'm kidding. I mean, am I? But like it gives me a sense of community, it gives me a sense of like people are around me, makes me feel good about myself in that way. With gaming live streams, I think there are a bunch of different things that come into that. So maybe it might be there's something about watching pro gaming So if you're watching pro gaming, I think it's just a competitive side that gets you. Like that's what it is for me when I'm watching pro CS. You know, it's definitely how competitive the guys are. But for other ones, it might be, for like either Scout, right? That was
Yeah.
one of the creators, right? And I assume they're not playing competitively; they're just playing for fun, right? In those games.
I mean, they mostly don't live stream the competitive games
All
because,
right.
that's been taken care of some other
Yeah,
organization.
yeah,
And what they do, they do fun live streams. And you know what's one thing I completely like forgot about is super chats. And I know
yeah.
you know what super chat
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
People just, and it's crazy for Indian YouTubers to get super chats every 5-10 seconds, and even though it's not a lot of money being sent to the YouTubers,
Mm-hmm.
over time they get so much YouTube like revenue from it, as well as the ad revenue that they get, or even some sponsorship revenue. So overall it's just a lot of money. I'm a
I mean,
bit jealous now.
I just want to say it's a scam though. YouTube takes like 50% of the revenue from super chats. That's why people use Twitch. But what I was saying, so I think with that, that whole gaming. So you said casual kind of gaming, right? So I think
Yeah,
it's the
just fun live streams.
personality of those guys on a platform that like PUBG Mobile, that just helps you get interested. I think lockdown has brought a
Okay, yeah.
lot more emphasis onto live streaming, and a lot more people are finding time where they didn't have time before, where they can switch on a live stream while doing some homework or whatever. Like how I hope you guys are listening to this podcast while doing some work or something, because you better be listening to this podcast right now, right? But I think lockdown has added a lot of more viewers, and also the fact, and I know this is what you want me to say, with YouTube becoming more professionally oriented, becoming more for like TV shows, essentially it's another TV right now. It's another television, right?
Mhm.
Creators
Yeah.
who want to make creative content and don't want to be restricted, they're moving to Twitch and they're saying, all right, there are restrictions here, but I can do what I want to do. They're moving to TikTok, they're moving to Crossfire. TikTok, I think I'll let you talk about, even though both of us don't really watch it. But we have a friend who's really popping off over there. But they're moving to these different platforms because they're finding a liberty of expression over there, and they're finding it more easy to work. And that's why, in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, all right? Maybe one of you can bring up a bunch of statistics and completely prove me wrong. But I feel the growth of YouTube is much less than the growth of these other platforms. And there's a clear reason for that. Because YouTube have shown where their priorities lie, and creators are not happy with that. If you want to add,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, on paper, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know the statistics as well, but
Mhm.
even if you're just a normal person who is on all these platforms, like Aniket mentioned, like Crossfire, TikTok, YouTube, Netflix, and all of these. I mean, I sorry about Netflix there, but also Netflix as well, because again, at the end of the day, Netflix is technically a video streaming platform, right? If
Yeah,
you look at it that way,
yeah, for sure.
obviously it's multi-million production TV shows, but
Mhm.
even if you compare all of these platforms against each other, like even Instagram comes into the play into the
Mhm.
picture. So what the main difference is the freedom that you get, because on TikTok you would see just anything on TikTok being trending, okay, and that's what really pisses people like me off, because you see all these weird dances being trending and they're getting millions of hits just for like a 7-second dance. It's effortless, and it's becoming a whole trend where thousands and 10 thousands and 100 thousands of people are just dancing on TikTok. It's even got to an extent where professional footballers are making TikToks. I mean,
Lewandowski.
a few Lewandowski, a Champions League winner, a 30-plus-year-old guy, is making TikToks, and so it's a bit ridiculous in that sense. But
I'm so like scared right now to say anything because I might be
exactly,
derogatory or I might say something wrong about TikTok, TikTokers and their talent and what goes into their video, because I'm scared of what people might tell me, and that takes me onto something which is cancel culture, which is just like eaten the current landscape apart. Like, as I was saying, some of the things that content makers used to make in the past, it wouldn't write today, and it's clearly not writing today because bunch of guys on Twitter are literally getting together and watching any old content of YouTubers, content that they've already apologized for, by the way, and saying, "Oh, you did this on this date, and it meant that, so you should therefore be deplatformed and thrown off the platform for that." And it's so toxic, dude. I get it. I get the point. I get the point, right? You have to call out people for their actions. But my issue is, and there are two issues that I have. My first issue is when people have apologized for something, clearly apologized and made amends, and now you can see that they made amends in their current content where they're not saying all those bad things or whatever. Why are we calling them out again? Like, what's the point in that? And second thing isn't the way in which they do it. They're called Twitter mobs for a reason. They go over there, they send death threats to those accounts, they force those, they say, "I'll kill your children, I'll do this, I'll do that" to their accounts, right? Why? Dude, just think about it for a second. If you're a big creator, right, and these are humans at the end of the day, and you get 150 different DMs or comments saying that people want you to kill yourself and all, how are you going to feel about it? Like, am I saying something wrong, Ishan?
I mean, see, even if these comments are coming in, obviously they're not going to be serious. Obviously, you're not going to see a child murder by a commenter on YouTube, but still, it sets like a psychological barrier where even if you're making videos, you'll be much more self-conscious about the stuff you're making. You'll be a little bit more sensitive. You'll start doubting yourself. You'll be a lot more insecure about each and everything you're doing on YouTube, and that's really not the type of thing that YouTube started out as.
No,
Because
you said
as
they
you know,
won't. You said they won't like actually do anything. But how many SWAT raids have we seen of Twitch streamers? XQC recently, his house got swatted because some guy thought it was funny or some guy thought he was bad guy, so he called the SWAT team over and the police over to his house. I don't know. I think some other creators had it very recently. I mean, guys, come on. Like I'm really trying to understand where people come from when they try and cancel a creator, and I feel I understand and I feel I resonate with it. It's good to do that, but when it comes to trying to ruin lives, why are we doing that? Especially most of the time, it's done without proof. You get a forward from someone and you just start talking about it. I mean, you talk about Karens, right? All these guys, they talk about Karens and they say, "Oh, Karen's so bad, Karen's so silly." Karens on Facebook, they see one post and they think that masks are going to strangle them and kill them. But isn't that similar to what we're doing as well? Like, we'll see one post on Insta, or we'll see one, like, a WhatsApp thing which our friend will send us, and we won't really look into it. And we'll be like, "Yeah, it's probably true." And then hate on that person. Isn't it true?
I mean, it's not right, but again, it's just the way that humans are functioning. Because I mean, I think you would agree with me now that most people, the way that they're trying to get attention is to do the wackiest stuff ever, or
Yeah,
to do the most
yeah.
unconventional stuff. And when they're talking about like something like "I'm gonna come to your house and rob you" just for a video,
Mm,
people, if I'm just a normal person, just like assuming I don't care about YouTube drama or anything, just
mm,
a normal person scrolling through, obviously I'm gonna be like shook when I'm trying to see a video with the title called "I raided this guy's house and I stole all of his money" or something. Obviously
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna get more curious to watch it. So I think that's one of the only driving factors which is leading to something like this. But at
Cloud
the end of the
chasing.
day, it's not ethical, not correct whatsoever. And I think now that we've spoken about it, we've been a little bit more serious towards the end of
Mm,
it. So
yeah.
I just like to end the podcast on a little bit of a light note, because we do understand that we have missed a few, types of YouTubers, the types
Oh,
of
yeah, for sure.
industries on YouTube. Like, we haven't spoken much about podcasts. We haven't spoken much about the David Dobrik community, and
Hmm.
the reason for that is because we are speaking for so long and we forgot about it.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. Also, the fact that I think with this particular video, um, we wanted to have a more summary, 30,000 feet view on how YouTube is. Didn't want to get too much into content creators themselves. But if you guys want us to make a video on a certain content creator, on a certain genre, just hit us up, because believe me, I'm more than interested to make videos on this kind of topic, because I love, like, you can ask Ishan how many times I asked him, "Can we do a video on YouTube? Can we do a video on YouTube? Let's do a video on YouTube. Please do a video on YouTube." It's ridiculous, right? This guy hates me because of that now. He probably made this out of frustration, no cap. Uh, But I'm really interested in doing that. And with the cancel culture thing, which I said right now, why don't you let me know if anybody has any issues with my opinions? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation because I'm free. I've had so many times I've been wrong in my life. And I'm happy to understand when I'm wrong, and I'm happy to make changes to myself according to that. I'm really good with that. And Ishan said, let's end on a lighter note. I'll take that. Let's talk about sponsors, dude. I think it's the last thing I want to talk about. But let's talk about sponsors.
Mm,
So as we said, before I was saying about monetization, and I was saying about, I was not saying, sorry, I was talking, I was talking about monetization, and I was talking about organizations which helped YouTubers get contracts and all. But nowadays, we don't need that because you don't need middlemen between you and sponsors, because sponsors themselves are reaching out to creators. It's been going on since around 2016, 2015, but now it's getting really easy for creators to simply just hit up, big creators can simply hit up like G Fuel or something and say, do you guys want to sponsor my content? Let's get a contract, let's get something sorted. And it's really helping a lot of creators in a time where YouTube is demonetizing everything and anything that anybody says. Guys like Koriko, I think he has a few sponsors. Guys like PewDiePie, right? He gets some of his content demonetized or copyright claimed. He has his contract
yeah,
with G Fuel. Guys like these, and smaller guys as well, I don't want to discriminate, are able to survive on this fact. Skillshare, what else? The NordVPN, all of those. They're helping creators still
yeah.
make the content they love on the platform they used to love, right? And I think it's really good that companies are understanding that there's an opportunity here to get brand exposure, and they're taking the initiative, and it's nice. Like there's a certain YouTuber I follow. His name's Stephen Trice, and he's been holding a podcast called the Stephen Trice Podcast. Ishan won't like stop hearing about it from me, but it's a really good podcast. I really like it because I feel in a time where everybody's so fake, it's good to have a bit of genuineness, like what we're trying to do,
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do. Okay, I might not be good at it, or we might not be good at it, but what I'm trying to do, it's good to have a little bit of genuinity in YouTubers and in people, because when you're in lockdown, when you just have your parents about, it's good to like pretend you have friends. But these guys, they made podcasts, and because of the kind of content that they make, they're comedians. Okay, so they make wacky jokes. They weren't getting monetized, but recently they got a sponsor, an alcohol beverage, and you can see on their faces that they're much more enthusiastic about making the video because they're actually getting something out of spending time. And I can vouch for podcasts. This stuff takes so much time to produce. Shout out Scott, shout out Ishan. Like, we might just be here recording like a 1 hour clip for you, a 1 hour video for you guys, but there's like 5 times the amount of work that goes into editing it, putting the thumbnail right, getting this right. Oh, have you put the intro music? Oh no, I forgot to put the intro music, getting that right. So, for the amount of effort that goes into it, and even live streaming, it's really good to see the sponsors are backing it.
So, yeah, just to wrap it up completely, now that Aniket explained that it's very difficult to make these sort of podcasts. So we would really appreciate it if you guys can like this podcast,
Yeah, yeah, for sure,
subscribe
dude.
to us if you haven't. I mean, there's a statistic that I think 20 people who listen to the podcast haven't subscribed. I mean, what's up, bro? What's up?
Yeah, come
Just hit
on,
me up.
man.
Tell me
Come
why.
on,
Tell
man.
me, bro. Come at me, bro. Why
Yeah,
are you
we got
not
the
subscribing? It's
statistics,
one
all right?
button.
We got the stats with us. You can't even argue, all right?
So, 20 whole people, bro. It really hurts.
That's 20.
Anyway,
That's 2
anyway.
times 10, right? Man.
Anyway, we're just gonna end it now, and just let us know anything in the comments, anything you disagree, anything you agree,
And
and
guys,
obviously let us know. Yeah,
yeah, go on,
sorry.
go on, go on. Go on. I'll let you carry on.
I was just saying, yeah, just let us know your favorite content creators and your favorite era of YouTube if you want to.
And like, I'm gonna request this, and it might seem like I'm begging it, but if you guys could help promote our channel, it'd be really helpful. I'm sure everybody knows somebody who likes to watch podcasts or likes to watch videos like us. So if you could just, share the video link with them, or share the channel with them, yeah, like from my heart kind of stuff. Like, this is, I'd really appreciate that. If you can, that's just, big G if you can do that. But with that, I think this video comes to an end. Thank you so much for listening to us. Let us know in the comments what we said wrong. let us know in the comments that I got the statistics completely wrong. All right, and let us know in the comments how you like this type of video. All right, we've made 3 different types of videos so far. We're still experimenting. We're seeing what's right. We got great feedback on the last video telling us what they like, what people liked, and what people didn't like. Shout out some guys who always comment. I think they actually deserve a shout out. I think I'll do that on the next
Legend.
podcast. Right? Comment down. I'll give you a shout out in the video. Yes. But guys who comment and guys who let us know privately really help us out with the video making process. So with that, Ishan, I'll let you just end the whole thing. Peace, boys.
Bye.